You've only added misfit to their strife. Your concern is not to help the people. And I'll say again, though it's been often said, your concern is just to bring discomfort, my friend, and your policy is just a little red. Now, ain't I right? It matters not to you how people suffer, and should they, you consider that a game. You bring a lot of trouble to a town and then you leave. That's part of your communistic game. I detect a little communism. I can see it in the things you do. Communism, socialism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two. Now, ain't I right?
Yes, she's right. Welcome to the Digital Renegade Podcast. I'm your host, the Dashing Rogue, and I'm with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
They're cute, they're lovable, and jam shoots out their heads. I want them all. Oh, nut bunnies.
Shit.
I've got crime to fight.
Man. Damn, that's from, what, Freakazoid still?
Yep.
Everyone's favorite meme machine from way before... Well, back when the dot-com boom was actually a thing, when he actually had to... He was a shitlord before shitlords were a thing.
Keep in mind, this episode has a reference to a beeper, or a pager. Does anyone even remember what pagers or beepers were?
Oh, I remember what they are. I remember them.
For all the kids in the audience, back in the day, before people had cell phones, they had phones at their house. Unfortunately, if your phone rang and you weren't around, you had a little device that was a little message to your little pager to let you know that you're being called, and it would show the number of the person calling you.
And it kind of made it more magical, if that makes any sense. It made the technology of like wireless communications more magical, because then you'd actually have to hunt down a magical place called a phone booth, and you'd actually have to return people. You would get like a quest log. It's like, well, it's like, let me see if I can find it here. The 90s were a magical time. Is this what I'm trying to get across here?
But yeah, the Freakazoid is like it's a time capsule of memories for what we thought media was and what media actually is to the present, because there are some things that in this show just age so differently.
It's like this, Luke. It's very much like this. This would be the ultimate pager. If we could do custom pagers, like let's say, oh my god, cyberpunk dystopia happens, we lose the internet, we go back to like 1980s technology because everything has viruses in them or something like that. I want this as my pager, freaking.
Oh, let me see. Let me get this on the screen.
That's what I want.
You've received a new quest card.
That's what I want. Because that's what it would be. I'd have to hunt down. I'd be like, who the hell's calling me? Right? I can't even imagine, I can't even really imagine being, like, in IT in the 90s. Like, I grew up in the freaking, like, valley, right? Silicon Valley, and I see, like, Palm Pilots and crap like that everywhere. I was, like, one of the few people who wanted to get Palm Pilots into people's hands before the freaking iPhone and Android came out. I saw the potential in that type of technology for everybody, essentially. But, that was then, this is now, and I guess we should get on with this show, shouldn't we?
I suppose so.
Armored Ghost. The concert attack was nuts. Literally, like, oh, we're gonna talk about that shit. We're gonna talk about that. This fucking ultra nationalists, we're literally in a Call of Duty timeline. The question is, are we in Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2019?
Now, I need to catch up with you guys. I have no idea what this is referring to.
Oh. Luke, you poor summer child. We'll show you precisely what we're talking about. So, for you, this you know what No Russian is, right? You know the story behind No Russian is, right?
Oh yeah, I know that the meme, yes.
So you could play this in the background, and then we'll show you this. So here we go. Not this. No, not that.
Just play this in the back. What do I play?
Play the. Let me get rid of that. Poof. Play that one.
Play this on the screen, or which one do I play in the background?
Play the No Russian in the background.
Alright. Are we allowed to show this stuff?
On YouTube. So good. So
Well,
you know,
I mean,
I'm using. I'm
YouTube is nothing if not an ocean of double standards. So,
yeah. Well. Let me just say this: no Russian.
all right, here we go.
No Russian.
Let's get this working.
Oh. Remember, no Russian.
Yep. They literally like from now on. I'm sorry, Russians, but from now on, you will always be. This will always be considered no Russian. You will always have no Russian be a synonymous. Like you know, I think it's not a like Columbine was for us, but now you have no Russian.
So what exactly,
and you know the sad part here is that.
So what exactly is happening on the screen?
So what's happening here was there was a terrorist attack going on by ISIS of all people in Mother Russia. They attacked a concert hall, and they were shooting people. They were killing motherfuckers.
Oh, so it's an Islamic attack.
Yep, but knowing our luck, it's probably more like a Modern Warfare 3, no Russian.
So no Arab? Is that what it is?
Oh, no Arab. Oh, have you seen in Modern Warfare 3, no Russian? Okay, it's like this. I'll show you. Because here's the thing. Besides the fact that we're basically Fed posting right now, a certain walrus of ours has been FSB posting. Okay? Keep playing. Here you go, Luke.
Oh, play this on screen?
Yeah, start at, I want to say, 2 minutes and 30 seconds in.
2 minutes and 30 seconds in.
No. Probably more like at... Yeah, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Go on.
50 seconds, alright.
عشان نمسك ستان يلا
Fucking A. Yeah, this is the no Russian we got out of it.
Okay.
Now I want to say roughly, yeah. Instead of mowing everyone down, we instead have it so that the fucking actual Russian guy, Makarov, well, he basically straps a poor innocent Paki woman, with bombs, saying no, you're not a terrorist, you're a war hero, you're a freedom fighter, right? Because it serves to be like the whole notion that of you know, good guy, bad guy, cops and robbers doesn't really matter on the world stage. Everybody has their safe zone, so to speak. It's called America, or not. Well, not America, of course not. America is for the Americans, but the Russians have the Russia, so to speak. So even if you do bust someone, well, the stream has gone down. No, is it? No, you can't show it now. Well, the stream has gone down, but they're still dashing. It's gonna dashing. Really?
Wait, I'm looking at the screen right now. It's still live.
Oh, that's good to know. I'm looking at it. Wolfwin Pepper says Eastern Europe has many Muslims. Some places more than any other religion, including Christianity. I know, and this is what happens. One of the reasons why I think the Russians are trying to weaponize Christianity, and the Muslims don't like it. They don't, and they're basically standing up against our archonic oppressor. You are up. Yeah, I'm up. Okay, thank God. Thank God. I didn't want to have to continue with that. You know, like, am I up? Am I up? Okay.
I mean, we never went down as far as I on my end.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Here
Anyway,
we go, Luke.
Anyway, what are you talking about?
Political sex tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What's this
yep.
about?
This is about the Kraut and Sansa Stark.
Just before jumping into anything, I should let you know I'm a little shaken up. Almost felt like puking before filming this video, if I'm being honest. Literally jittery. You know, there are certain topics that over the years have been just too scary for me to broach because they've been personally extremely difficult for me emotionally, and they've also caused me a lot of real world consequences, and I never know what talking about them publicly is going to do to my life and my family, and this is one of those topics. But I always find it makes me feel better when I actually just talk about things openly and honestly, regardless of the consequences, like the stress and the weight
Is she?
of it all.
Do you think
It's
she's
just
still
me
hot?
telling the truth.
She's pretty.
She's not hot anymore. Is she mid? I know the Zoomers use that term. I don't know what the fuck mid means.
Meh.
Mid and referred to meh. I guess you're right. Meh.
I mean,
Let's
she's
see.
she's
Putin.
certainly not ugly, and she is attractive.
Yeah. Wolfwind Pepper says Putin is using Christianity as social technology. It's very common now. I can explain the concept if you want. Oh, it's like in Dune. He's basically he literally is used trying to be Muhadi. No pun intended. That's what he's trying. God Emperor Putin is. What it is. That's what he's doing. Keep playing, Luke.
Let's see. Social technology, according to Wikipedia, is a way of using human, intellectual, and digital resources in order to influence social processes. So
We're Christian. We're trad.
We're a Christian nation. This is the Christian thing to do, right?
Exactly. It's the Christian nation. You know, that's that's sinful consciousness, Luke. Wanting to follow and die to retake Constantinople is what you should have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is she going to complain about?
It's literally just therapy itself, right? I get less gray hairs when I just openly speak about the things that are disturbing me in the field.
Yeah, she kind of looks like Rogue
One of those
now
things-
with her gray hairs.
Well, Rogue is a babe, though, so I'm not sure. Is that
Yeah,
what
well,
I mean?
Rogue. Yeah, because you could never touch her, right? Like, she's only into that BDSM shit with like leather and crap.
Well,
But we can figure that shit
I
out.
don't know if she is. I think she just wants just any kind of touch, which apparently she can actually have if you follow the series that's out right now.
Mr. Chuck the Buck Norris. Any opinion on Candace Owen getting fired from the Daily Wire? Candace Owen, I'll just say my opinion. My opinion of Candace Owen of getting fired from the Daily Wire is really the same as my opinion of Candace Owen in general. She's a race grifter. She's only there because of her race. She's a black conservative, not a fiscal conservative, not a social conservative, not a war hawk, not a nativist, none of that. No. She's just a black conservative. Now fill in the blanks of what that actually means. Wolfwind Pepper says the TLDR is what Sargon is doing with his kids. He is using it to give them purpose. Islamic society isn't very functional and devolves into dirt piles. It does indeed. Remember, no Lauren. Absolutely no Lauren. Never, ever. No e-girls ever. You know, I heard that she let her contract expire. Really, her contract with who?
I thought
I
thought they paid out her contract in advance.
Who?
Candace,
Lauren?
Candace Owen.
Oh yeah, they probably did pay it out. I don't know. Honestly, I have to look into that sometime in the future.
Is it really just that she would not denounce? She's like saying it's okay to criticize Israel, and that's why she's not part of Daily Wire anymore.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's more to do with the fact that well, I don't know. I don't fucking know.
All right.
I don't know what her deal is. All I know is that she's literally just an SJW who created a doxing service. That's what you're dealing with, okay? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, "Well, holy, I found the light. All hail the God Emperor." And then they just and then because she can't, I guess because she criticized Israel. I don't fucking know if that's the case. It's just Candace being Candace.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If you wanted to look up specifically what I think of Candace, if you want to know someone who's wise to the Candace Owen question, go look up Tree of Logic.
I mean, keep in
Tree
mind,
of Logic took her down.
The Daily Wire is the main voice of Daily Wire is a person who wasn't ever Trumper. So, like, what should we really draw from that?
Well, you know, I think that there's a difference between being never a Trumper or never MAGA. Like, I like Trump. I just it's the fans that are killing it for me. The people who are so easily, convinced. And we're going to get into the convincing of the MAGA people. But you're going to see it from... In fact, let's just keep playing this because it kind of shows you the mindset of these political fucking sex tourists.
Okay.
Candace has dismissed refusing bed gloves advances. Oh, boy. Of course, the Bulbasaur. We get his black on.
Being done to Brittany and Martin Selmer. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years, Lauren, why don't you talk to Brittany anymore? Where is Brittany? Why did you stop appearing in your videos? And I don't know how many of you guys have been following my work over the years. I know my first video...
Who are we talking about? Brittany.
Okay, so you know that chick?
Wait.
No, Brittany Sellner. Brittany Pettibone.
Oh, okay. What about them?
You remember the Babysitter Club chick? Right? It's like, shut up, dweeb. Tim, like, let me see if I can show you the picture of her. I swear to you, every time I see this chick, I think of two things: Marjorie Martell, and basically somebody who is so sheltered that they're probably going to become like a strong, empowered woman, or they're going to die in a ditch somewhere. Let's see if I can find it here for you. There she is. And everyone's favorite yodeler, everyone's favorite yodeler, Martin Sellner. Let's see if I can find it here. Picture of him.
Let's see.
Oh God, this guy has a fucking face that's punchable.
All right. So what was she famous for again? I forget.
Oh, she's famous because she apparently like made a book, and then her father was like a bigwig at I think it's Zilix. I think it is. He was like a CFO for like one of these big tech companies back in the day. Ted Pettibone, I believe his name is. Again, it's on his LinkedIn profile, so go figure. I'm not actually doxing people. The data is actually on freaking LinkedIn. Right. But the main reason why she was well known is because of the fairy tale ending of these two people coming together to fight against globalism. It's a match made in heaven, and it's so romantic. Well, there is no happy end after for these people. Keep playing it, Luke.
Posted on this channel was posted in like 2015, so I'm sure there's some of you from back in those days, and then I've got a lot of new people who may not know who or what I'm talking about. But when I was in my earlier 20s, particularly when I was 20, 21, I had a very good friend, Brittany Pettibone, and we went and we covered a lot of topics on immigration in Europe. And she went on to marry an activist from a group called GI, Generation Identity, named Martin.
She married an activist. End of story, Luke.
Oh, so she's like she's like what was the name of the woman who became Marx's wife?
Marx had a wife?
Yeah, he was married.
I thought Marx and Engels were more like Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh no, Engels had a mistress that he refused to marry because they were against the institution, and Marx did have a wife who was basically a duchess, like a former duchess, came from a duchess family, and unfortunately he basically lived a revolutionary life, and so all the children they had basically died of starvation or suicide pacts.
Oh my God!
Oh, you didn't know this?
Oh, I didn't know they died of suicide packs. That's fucking.
Some of the daughters died of suicide packs, which is ironic because Marx actually glorified the idea of death in his poetry.
Fucking follow Daddy's example, jeez.
Of course, one of the primary reasons that he raised his daughters to be like guys like him, and so they ended up being with the worst kind of scum imaginable. And of course, in Marx's case, the only survivor of his only bloodline was an illegitimate child that he had through his housemaid, who was basically a housebound slave.
Jeez, was she like black, or was she like an octoroon or something?
She was just an average-looking woman, but she was a strong, capable woman because she was doing all the stuff that the wife couldn't do because she was actually taking care of the business, taking care of the house, and taking care of everything.
So he got to put his upper middle class slacker seed in a strong working class empowered woman, huh? Mm-hmm. Such as communism. Sucks.
But still, yeah, it's like getting married to an activist. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong, but considering what the kind of activism that we're talking about, I'm guessing it didn't end well.
Well, it didn't end well because here's the thing. Like she's gonna say here, and I've talked about this many fucking times on here. I'm sick of these fucking international nationalists running around Europe, basically participating in getting laid with every chick in Europe. Just say we're fighting against the good fight against globalism, man. That's what it is. They're hippies.
It's literally the inverse. It's basically the polar opposite. Oh, it's not the opposite, but it's the inverse of we're fighting capitalism, man.
Yeah, we're fighting globalism, man. We're sticking to the ban. We're gonna have babies with people from various fucking countries.
But is she a well-to-do girl who married into activism? Because that would be that's almost Karl Marx to a fault. That's like Karl Marx to a fault.
Oh, dude,
Jenny Marx.
dude.
That's Jenny Marx. That was her name. Jenny Marx to a fault.
Well, you'll see.
Let's see.
With a child now, but the group that Martin was a part of, GI, got
Oh yeah, Jenny von Westphalen. She was like a royal descent, or like kind of high end descent. So Marx, as you could to know, Marx basically milked their family for all their money he could get out of them.
Yeah.
cracked down
There you
on
go, Luke.
hardcore by the governments in Europe and the US. They got like designated a terror organization or something, extremist group, right? Now, I don't know of them to have partaken in any violence.
What's really sad about Ginny is that she really was a strong woman, but she just said, okay, this is the bed I made, and I'm staying in it for the rest of my life. Like, poor girl.
Let's see. Here
I don't
you
think there's
go.
ever been any proof of
This
that, but
this
this
is this is what happens when you have cucked parents. Here you go, Luke. I will share this with you. No, actually, I'm gonna have to edit this shit first. Keep playing. Keep playing.
I don't care what you guys think of this group. You can hate it. You can like it. That's not what this story is about. This story is about how the government works and how they meddle in the lives of average citizens that they feel are not conducive to whatever political agenda is going forward. And I think a lot of people, they see these political figures like me or Brittany or Martin or people I've known in my past, like Kaylin Robertson, and they go, well, that person's left wing, that person's far right, that person's this, that. And they look at me, why are you friends with that person? Why are you talking to that person? And I would just caution you to remember these are real people in my life that I've loved, regardless of their politics, whose futures I'm invested in, regardless of whatever ideas they may have, whether I disagree or agree, and whether you as the public agree or disagree with them. Like, these are real humans that I had real friendships with. And Brittany...
Yeah, they're
is one of
fucking
those
shit
people.
humans in some cases. They're shit humans. Some winners, a whole lot of losers.
So what's the deal?
Well, that's her fucking dad. That's Pettibone's father, and her father is like a really rich, like oligarch level of fucking. He comes from a lot. So this woman is sheltered. She could have luxury beliefs, like the ability to think that she could just marry a guy from halfway across, like literally halfway across the world on a different fucking continent.
Global finance, accounting.
He's a fuck.
Project.
Oh yeah.
Management experience. Really well connected guy. Or
Yeah, no, like if you look at his freaking, again, his stuff is out there. You can easily find it. It's on LinkedIn. It's his resume essentially, right? This is what, like, it's bragging rights. I would rather listen to her father, as opposed to fucking Sellner, because the Kraut's a fucking Kraut, and the Kraut has to yodel, because he's an Austrian Kraut. Keep playing.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like really hard to get out of my system. And the reason I'm kind of finally going to talk about this today, what happened to Brittany and I's friendship and our public kind of relationship, is the other day there was a story that came out of Europe. It went kind of viral. Martin Sellner had been arrested in the middle of one of his speeches in Switzerland, I believe. It was full, like, SWAT team kicking down the door, turning off the lights, grabbing him and dragging him out. And it was pretty insane. He was just giving a speech on the idea of remigration, which, once again, agree or disagree. I think he should be allowed to talk about ideas that are nonviolent,
Yeah, but he's in a different country. What the fuck? Why is an Austrian going yodeling in the Swiss Alps so high? When along came the SWAT team kicking down him, kicking down the door. Like seriously, what the fuck does he think is going to happen? What is with these fucking political tourists going from one country to another? Like, that was the thing that I never liked about the Proud Boys, Like, the idea that there'd be one giant group of people, like, on a federal level almost, going around fighting Antifa. And the problem here is they were never regulated. There's no accountability, right? They're just a bunch, like, an international street gang, like Gavin McInnes would talk about, right? Okay, give me this. What the hell's his name from, what the hell's his, Mersch, right? He talks about how Gavin McInnes invented the international street gang, the Proud Boys. I always didn't like the fact there was no accountability. I didn't like the idea that you take people from, let's say, Boston, and then you'd fly them over to San Francisco and fight in Oakland and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't like that idea because they have no incentive to, like, not brutalize the population and not go gentle, You don't get anything from, like, having a foreign force on soil that doesn't have that you are not willing to fight for, I don't know. I don't like political tourists. I don't like activists going from one state to another state trying to start shit. And you can imagine that on the macro level as well when you have people from, like, Austria going over to Switzerland to try to tell them how to reform their immigration policies, right?
I mean, if they're the best speaker for the topic, that makes sense why they want to have outside top speakers.
Yeah, but no, if you have to go to the outside to get help, there's something fucking wrong with you. Like, your movement sucks. Honestly.
Hmm.
Keep going.
me for 3 years. And whenever I see stories like this, it brings up a lot of emotions for me because I've got this little thing in the back of my head that's like, can I talk about it? Should I talk about it? I hope they're okay. I hope Brittany's okay because I love her as a person. But it's always this internal struggle because, quite frankly, I have dealt with extreme psychological torment at the hands of the government for being friends with Brittany and Martin.
Those arms, but hefty.
You know, I'd
Those
always
Lara
been, like,
Croft
questioning
arms.
this when I went in and out of countries, and it wasn't a huge deal to me, you know, pre-2019, pre-2020, if I got banned from a country, because it's like I got home. I got my friends overseas can come and visit me, right? But when I got married and had a kid, I suddenly had this tie to an overseas country, Australia, where the people I loved and family I wanted to have was there. And if I wanted to be able to travel between Australia and Canada, where my family members were, my family, you know, like my core family, my parents, my sister, and, you know, the family I'd married into, well, I needed to have the ability to travel back and forth, right? And that part, if you watch my older videos on this, I discussed how the Australian government made me quit politics in order to be able to immigrate there whatsoever. So I just had to shut down the channel and everything.
They don't want some Canadian from some fucking leaf coming across the great ocean, the Pacific Ocean, to tell them how to fucking run their country. You literally start, like, here's the thing about it. The whole political tourism on the right is more about individuals like Paul Joseph Watson and fucking Pettibone and Sellner. But the one thing that I will say is the Antifa people are doing it right. Why are they doing it right, you say? That they're horrible people. Yes, of course. But they're at least staying anonymous, so that way they can go in to a country and then just show up out of the nowhere, right? And then they just could disappear just as quickly. They're doing it right when it comes to political tourism, so to speak. So you could have somebody, let's say, from like another example of political tourism was the whole Yellow Vest protests, right? You have people in Germany protesting a fuel tax that in fucking France, right? Like, what the fuck is that? There's so much political tourism going on in this country nowadays. It's everywhere, you know, and you have to call it out when you see it. Keep going.
And I was also, if you've watched some of my videos about my relationship, I was not in a good marriage, and it was one of those situations where it's like, if I'm not in Australia, we don't have a marriage. So I was very desperate to make it work, like very desperate to ensure that my immigration status worked, because I'm, you know, I respect the nuclear family. I want fathers to be involved in children's lives. I think that's extraordinarily important. I would bend over backwards to make that a reality, right? And so I was doing everything fine. I'll quit my politics. I'll do whatever I have to ensure that I've got this ability to immigrate and be there in Australia. When COVID hit, 2020, 2019, 2020, whenever it was, they got rid of a ton of flights between Australia and Canada, and you know, my options for which countries I could travel through almost completely disappeared. It became there was like one flight out of Los Angeles that was like a connector flight.
It's almost like it was like it never works out from long-term relationships now, does it? Like, I used to have, like, there was that one saying that you have a girlfriend online that you do your friend, and you can say, I have a girlfriend online, and you didn't really have sex or anything like that back in the day. We all had those type of people. Like, you had a RuneScape friend. I had RuneScape friends in all over the place, right? I would never meet them. I'd never hang out with them. You know, there are very few people who would do that type of shit. I know a few people who did. But, you know, you just know, there's long-term relationships just don't work. I don't know. Keep going.
When I was visiting my family back home and trying to get back to Australia in those early days, I kept trying to book this flight through Los Angeles, but every time I would show up at the airport, they would just sit there and question me for hours and hours and hours and hours as I had a newborn baby, and I kept missing my flights, and I didn't have that much money, right? These are flights during COVID. They're costing $5,000 to $8,000 for these international flights because there's so few of them, and I'm sorry, I don't have that kind of money to spend, right? So every time I'm going in, and
how did you have the money to spend so you could hook up with the guy, though? Like, right? Like, these are flights during COVID. What are, like, international flights, let's say, from, like, Tokyo to from where we're at? Like, Phoenix, Arizona to Tokyo. What would that look like, Luke? Like, I actually want to get some prices on this shit, because you know with inflation and all that crap, right? Keep going. Keep playing.
It's like, literally, this is my fate on the line. Like, my ability
It's
to
about $1,000 each way.
Work on things. It was horrific.
So she's saying $5,000 during COVID? It's about $1,000 each way. It's like that's 5 times as much. Yeah, I'm looking at this, and it's like it literally is like freaking almost $2,000 to like $1,000. She's making shit up.
Like, guys, I've quit politics. Please, just like let me be with my family. Please let me see my family. And every time I would go through, they would have the same kind of similar set of questions, and a lot of them would be about Martin and Brittany. And I literally just this kind of questioning session in which I'm asked, they'd always ask me like, when was the last time you spoke to Martin and Brittany? When was the last time you spoke to Martin and Brittany? And this questioning session of that type only ended a few months ago, towards the end of last year. I finally had to stop doing secondary.
When was the last time you spoke to Martin and Brittany? When was the last time you spoke to Martin and Brittany is now a trigger word for her. You usually just go up to her in like a fucking, like a political protest and be like, when was the last time you spoke to Martin and Brittany? Just fucking freak her the fuck out. No.
Martin and Brittany. And yeah, so I kept getting rejected, and I remember I have the document right here. I'm like just begging them. I'm like, please, just let me see my family. And I have some of the questions, just asking me about generation identity. What is your friend's name and her husband, Brittany Sellner and Martin Sellner? Do you maintain contact with either Brittany or Martin Sellner? And I made the grave mistake here of saying, well, I have, but it's been months, and only Brittany, but only via phone or text messaging. But believe me, it's only been about being married, having babies. We haven't seen each other in person in a while. Like, I'm sitting here having to convince the government. Like, I haven't spoken to this person I love. I swear I haven't talked about politics. Like, I swear we just talked about our babies. And it's like, because I know I've done these questioning sessions so many times, and
it's like, seriously, you put yourself on the radar. You decided to put yourself in this position. You're not a journalist. She started with journalism and she got into activism, right? I don't know.
They're like, when's the last time you spoke to them? When's the last time you spoke to them? When was the last time you had any type of phone communication with either? Maybe last month, Brittany asked about my baby. And these were, it's like so hard to talk about because they rejected me after hours and hours and hours of being in there, and then I went again and they rejected me. And for over the last few years, over and over again, it's been the same: Brittany and Martin, Brittany and Martin, Brittany and Martin. They're the flag that's like been on my passport. And I came to a realization that like I was going to have to convince these people that I was not, like truly convince them that I was not in contact with Brittany and Martin ever, if I was going to be able to see and be with my family. And I will never forget having that conversation with Brittany where I called her up and I said, Brittany, they're not going to let me see my family. They're not going to let me see my family if we're still talking. And we both cried and just said we love each other so much. And she's like, I completely understand, Lauren. I completely understand. And, this is just the way the world is right now. And we're going to just love each other from afar. And this was one of my best friends. I was like, I don't know, three years ago now. We're just going to have to love each other from afar, and we'll both know the whole time that we care for each other, and we hope our mom lives and our babies are doing well, and I know she knows that. And
emphasize the babies. Emphasize the babies.
Oh, so the problem is that they're having, so they basically, the husband, he was arrested, and now she's, just facing, difficulties with this? Is that all this is?
Yep, that, and also the fact you decided to marry the hero who's going to be constantly fighting the eternal dragon, right? And you decided to put yourself on European extreme, no pun intended, by basically marrying a guy from who's on the other side of the fucking world, right? I'll tell you this: I already know Brittany Pettibone's a fucking whore. I already know that chick. She is dangerous. Like you want to what was it? That one scene in the Simpsons where I think it was one episode where I think it's Reverend Lovejoy has a daughter or a niece or something like that, and she's 100 times worse than Bart. That's what we're dealing with Pettibone, or Sellner, I guess her name is now. Again, I really do not trust a single one of these fucking people. You want to talk about traditionalists and shit? These are the type of people who if you look at, again, I will always have this. Here you go, Luke. I will always constantly remind people of that one time that basically Tim Pool, Beanie Man, decided to. This is back when he was a man, not a fucking baby anymore. Screaming about World War II and World War III and freaking Civil War. Play it, Luke.
Before I did, I was going to talk with Brittany Pettibone because she is an American Trump supporter who came to France to check things out. So first, do you want to just introduce yourself who you are, what you do.
Yeah, my name's Brittany Pettibone. I have a...
Want to say around 3 minutes in, or actually 2 minutes and 40 seconds in.
They're letting in. And we've seen, in the past year, a lot of terror attacks.
Right. So, I mean, what's interesting to me is that I talked about this before. I did a video with Lou Brodowski where I mentioned it's interesting that there is this international appeal for nationalism, right? Like, you're an American.
Yeah, and okay, since I came out for Trump and started to get politically involved, I met a ton of people, through the internet. They're Germans, French, a lot of different nationalities, and all of them were equally involved in the Trump election.
Yes. Like,
and we're very interested. We're interested in each other's welfare, because we have that in common.
But that sounds like globalism. You've got.
But I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to.
I swear this chick is such a. This is the Duchess I've ever fucking saw it. Holy shit. Oh God.
I mean, we have Paul Joseph Watson, Milo, both British. We have Lauren Southern, Gavin McInnes, both Canadian, all very much for Trump. Talking to Americans about why they should have Trump, who is a nationalist. And then you have the Trump supporters. You came to France. Marine Le Pen is a nationalist. There's this crazy international support for nationalism in these countries. But it's paradoxical to me, right? That's almost.
What a coincidence. Jenny von Westburen was a quote German theater critic and political activist.
Who is that?
Karl Marx's wife.
Karl Marx's wife?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So she was already into the revolution before Marx showed up. She was sympathetic to the revolution.
Fucking theater kids. Fucking theater kids, man. And we all know fucking Pettibone was a theater kid. We all know she was one of those.
No, it's not globalism, but it's this interesting international support for each other's nationalism.
Yeah. I don't think that's such a strange thing. I don't see how it's so mind-boggling to understand.
You think that the main issue for you, why you support Le Pen, was the issue of immigration?
That she was actually going to combat that. She was actually standing up to that openly, yes. And Macron is...
How do you know this, though? But how does she know? How does she know that? Does she speak French? She does say she speaks German a little bit. But even then, how do you even know what papers are what? Do you know which one's an actual left-wing paper versus a right-wing paper in Germany or France? They don't know anything.
Culture. Or
besides,
I don't know if this quote's attributed to him. I saw it online. I can't say for sure, but he was saying that Islamic terrorism that is going to have to be expected.
Yeah, the mayor of London said something similar.
Yeah, so
this kind of terrorism.
I just think that's a really pathetic position to take. Oh, just expect it now, you guys. I mean, shouldn't you be interested in the welfare of your citizens over those who are not?
Is the issue actually nationalism? Or, I mean, look, you just crossed the border from the U.S. into France. You snap your fingers, you show up with a passport.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to live here and become a citizen, which is fine to an extent. The thing is that we're seeing mass immigration right now that it doesn't leave any time for assimilation. It creates no demand for it either because there's so many people. I mean, I was in France. The last time I was in France was 2013. It was radically different. I was in Paris, and here maybe.
How was she able to go to France? Luke, is there something on the East Coast or something like that, where you magically have more of a connection to go to Europe as opposed to the West Coast? I know we could probably get to Japan or China easier, right? But what is it with these fucking East Coasters being able to have access to fucking just casually go across Europe? We're talking rich people, fucking there's rich and there's fucking I could go there last month. That was the thing that really got me about Pettibone. I keep saying this again and again. Back in the day, she was spending so much money, so much funds were being pushed. First, she was going to Europe, then she was going to freaking the Battle of Berkeley, then she was going to Europe again, and then she was deciding to move all while this, and then going over to hang out with Lauren Southern. And I'm like, where's all this money going from? Where's all this you have to be rich to do this shit all at once. I don't honestly. I don't think it's going to end well for Pettibone, and I say Pettibone as her maiden name because that's probably what's going to happen. Her activist cuck husband's going to end up in prison, like all the good trad cucks end up, and then the rest of the fucking church is going to have to take care of the welfare babies. I ain't going to do it though. I ain't going to fucking do it. You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. Sucks for Lauren, and it sucks for her, too. You fucked it. You decide to fuck the right-wing version of Che Guevara or the guy at college who has the right-wing Che Guevara shirt. That's who you decide to be with, and now you have to suffer the consequences. Speaking of consequences, Luke.
Ooh, what happened now?
Well, one of the things that going back to the whole Russian concert hall. Go. One of the consequences of having the Russians basically do a drill at that concert hall about 2 or 3 months ahead of time before the terrorist attack.
Oh, what's this?
In 2002, the Russian conducted a drill simulating Ukrainian soldiers taking over the hostages at the Kraut City Hall venue. It's the same thing. So we're actually seeing Russian false flags. I do believe that to be the case. Right? Yeah. But not only that, here's one for you. Now I saw this thread on YouTube online, and what do you know about Mike Flynn? What do you know about Mike Flynn?
Michael Fallon? Yeah, have Sovereign Nations, the group that James Lindsay's part of.
Mike Flynn is?
Michael Fallon, right?
Mike Flynn.
Why you call
General
him Flynn?
Mike Flynn.
Oh, it's
Mike Flynn.
Who's Mike Flynn?
Yeah, General Mike Flynn. Here you go. Take a look at this.
What's this?
It's a Twitter thread, and play the video in it.
Oh, is this one of those? It's this. Mike.
No,
Flynn,
this is communist This is Gnostic Infiltration.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Mike Flynn.
I don't know.
General Mike Flynn.
Mike Flynn. Oh, Mike. Who is he again?
That is a $1 million question. Who is General Mike Flynn? Play the clip.
He looks very familiar. What was he doing?
Former.
Mike Flynn, the guy who was he's trying to correct the accusation of perjury because he was supposedly meeting with Russians as a representative for the American government, and he got lumped into all the Russian Gate stuff.
He played the fifth on the whole January 6th violence was justified. If he was asked if January 6th violence was justified, play the clip. Just play the clip.
There's a clip of here.
MAGA Christian nationalism. I'm just choosing that term. You could call it, I think James calls it hee-haw Christian nationalism. There's a couple of other terms, but let's say it's a broader Christian nationalism that's not concerned about reading 17th and 18th century Puritans, that's not looking back to pre-American discussions in terms of a Protestant magistrate or those sorts of things. Okay, so a couple people, Josh Hawley may or may not agree with me putting him in this category, but I've heard him say a lot of the same things as General Mike Flynn. And I'm not meaning to somehow in any way degrade Mike Flynn's past service for the country, but something's happened lately, and you need to pay attention. Remember what the goal is you want, after you fracture things, you mold it closer to thine heart's desire, you want one world, you want one religion, right? Okay, here we go. This is Mike Flynn at one of their large rallies that they've had. Okay, listen please, very closely.
And they're talking about the United States of America. Talking about the United States of America, because when Matthew mentioned it in the Bible, he wasn't talking about the physical ground that he was on. He was talking about something in the distance. So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together, working together.
One nation together under one religion under God. What one religion are you referring to, General Flynn? Because you didn't say
one tradition under God, indivisible. The same type of shitheads like this. Fucking Brahmin Bannon, the piece of shit that he is. Keep playing. No, it gets weirder, Luke. You think I'm crazy? I see patterns where there are patterns, my friend. Keep playing it. You're going to see it.
You didn't say Christianity. You didn't say under Jesus. You didn't say under Islam. You just said one religion. Interesting. What one religion? What one religion is Flynn referring to? I can tell you one particular faith, it's an ancient faith, that believes that what's going to happen is that all faiths are going to come together one time and come up with the true faith. That we all have little pieces of truth and so forth, that we're all going to be molded closer to thine heart's desire. That as below, so will be above, as opposed to the way that we believe right now, as above, so below.
Based Protestants.
We're going to be coming.
Based fucking Protestants are catching on. They're waking up to the fucking trad question.
Oh yeah, Fallon's been complaining about this for years, but of course I didn't follow him up until that point. I only follow.
I'm gonna have to follow. I'm gonna have to follow this guy.
Well, I only know him because of James Lindsay, because James Lindsay's one of the speakers at his conferences.
Well, you know, at the same time, James Lindsay speaks to Steve Bannon, doesn't he? So we gotta pray for James Lindsay's soul, because Steve Bannon's the type of piece of shit who believes this type of crap. Keep playing though.
Coming together and creating truth, in essence, creating God. So, kind of like what would happen if mankind came together and created a being that was so superior in intelligence, that was omnipresent, omniscient in everything, that knows all things, is everywhere with you at all times, especially if you're in your 15-minute city, that maybe is artificial in its intelligence, but far superior to yours. So what one religion is he referring to? Let's first take a look at Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Does anybody remember this gal? Those of you that were around in the 1980s and 70s? Well, she led a Hermetic Gnostic cult. She was a leader and student of Helena Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky. Blavatsky,
the dude,
was someone who...
The dude Blavatsky.
Was a theosophist. Someone who as well kind of enjoyed this kind of bringing together of Gnosticism and Hermeticism. She had a tremendous influence on what world leader? Adolf Hitler. So there was a tremendous amount of influence from Blavatsky, but not only just in these other totalitarian governments, but in many, many people in the Theosophical Society. And then as well, Alice Bailey. If you look up her name, just Google, Freemason site, yeah, we love Alice Bailey. She's responsible for a lot of what would become the ideologies of the United Nations. And if you're in the United Nations in New York City, there is a temple in the United Nations. It's the only religious temple, and it's from Lucius Trust, which was Alice Bailey's. Now, Lucius Trust was her publishing company. It was first called Lucifer Trust, which that wasn't a real popular name.
Lightbringer.
But they are the publisher of everything of the United Nations, just about.
It was Linkara all along, Luke. It was the Lightbringer. Linkara. Yes. In a lot of ways, we are fighting Linkara, or people like Linkara, but we're more competent than Linkara.
Location in New York City, Lucius Trust, in Geneva as well, which is where the United Nations is as well, and also in London, in a building called, which is the Royal Horse Guards at Whitehall Place, which is attached to the National Liberal Society. And so that hotel is the one that I use for most of my groups in London. It's right next to the Ministry of Defense, and if you look this way, you're looking right at 10 Downing Street. That's where it is. So Alice Bailey. So this Elizabeth Clare Prophet, absolute nut job, espousing cultic concepts and so forth. The funny thing is, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, what she prayed and what she said, her exact prayer, almost word for word, was repeated by General Mike Flynn before crowds of thousands of people, and he had them all recite what he was saying, which was exactly what Elizabeth Clare Prophet was saying. And nobody's giving me a good answer. People that are good friends with Mike Flynn have not given me a clear answer on what was going on. Oh, well, that could be any prayer. No, it was specific. It was very specific. Listen to this.
Presence, I am here, O God, and I am the instrument of those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We are your instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels, all of them.
And I will not retreat. I will take my stand. I will not fear to speak. And I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
We will not retreat. We will not retreat. We will stand our ground. We will not fear to speak. We will be the instrument of your will, whatever it is.
Here I am, so help me God, in the name of Archangel Michael and his legions. I am freeborn, and I shall remain freeborn, and I shall not be enslaved by any foe within or without.
In your name, and the name of your legions, we are freeborn, and we shall remain freeborn. And we shall not be enslaved by any foe, within or without. So help me God. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you very much.
The same type
What
of
God are
hippie
you referring
dippies.
to, Mike Flynn?
The God of the
A lot
tradition.
of good people. A lot of people that profess Christ in that crowd, in that stadium. Word for word.
Yeah.
You need to be angry about this.
Believe I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I honestly want to find out if Bannon was the one giving him the idea, because I have a feeling Bannon is literally running around like a goddamn imp, destroying and poisoning the minds of the actual people who want to, fight against evil. Because he's actually, I do believe that Bannon is the one who's giving Mike Flynn these ideas.
He's
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's the only legitimate voice that would give him that kind of advice, because Bannon is in a position to be listened to, and Bannon is in a position, like, he doesn't have the position, but he has the appearance of being someone you should listen to. Like, he is the supposed polar opposite of the woke. He has the perception of being the opposite of the woke, and so he's in the position that everyone's going to be listening to.
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why we need to speak up against it, because here's the thing that's interesting. James Lindsay, from what I don't know how close he is to Steve Bannon, but if he listens to Bannon, I wouldn't be surprised that if Bannon gave him the information about all this Gnostic crap. But at the same time, when
James Lindsay is friends with O'Fallon, so he probably wouldn't touch that stuff. He wouldn't be friends with Bannon.
All right, because there's here's the problem. How do you learn to hack? By hacking, right?
Well,
you learn to hack by hacking to learn.
Well, the best way to beat their enemy is just read their materials, because that's what I did with Das Kapital. Because once I read that, that's why this is completely insane.
Yeah, I got you. But you want to know what else is completely insane besides basically Gnostic posting and basically doing all this hidden knowledge bullshit?
Oh, what's that?
Here you go. We know how to solve the problems of the world. Walrus Man has figured it out. Play it.
What's this?
This is the Walrus getting an ego.
Oh yeah, this is one of these Twitter sessions, right?
It's one of these Twitter sessions. Now listen to what he says.
To say the truth, I would propose, in order to solve all the problems of the humanity, not to bomb Ukrainians, not to bomb Russians, not to bomb Palestinians, not to bomb Houthi, but just to bomb Davos. So it is enough to bomb Davos, and everything will be perfect. Because if we could destroy the heart of the dragon bombing once Davos, that would be enough to solve all the human problems. Maybe there will be some conflicts still, but there will be no huge, big united evil against that fuel, as you have correctly named it. There will be no third participant, third force behind the curtains. So let's stop bomb each other. Let's bomb together Davos, and that will be solution.
And so I'm assuming when he says bomb Davos, he means the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, no, he's talking about bombing Davos. I mean, he didn't say bombing the World Economic Forum. Walrus Man is getting a bit too bold here. Like, at first he's like, it's one thing he'll deny saying, "Oh, I love the Ukrainians. Ukrainians are wonderful. I am Ukrainian." And then he says, "Kill, kill, kill. These are my ideas as a professor." Now he's saying, "Let's just bomb Davos. Let's FSB post. Let's FSB post and say, you know, let's just bomb the fucking Davos."
This Jim Stewartson, he's not doing anything. We're saying he's a genocidal Nazi because he's not a genocidal Nazi. He's a not genocidal Russian supremacist.
Yeah, he is. He fucking is. Well, here's the thing. He's a traditionalist. He's the type of person that fucking that 80s chick who liked Blavatsky would have fucking been involved with. People like that are dangerous. These are the type of people who will cold read you into believing you're full of shit. You know? These are the people who will talk shit and tell you that the end of the world is happening and you should just give everything up and not try to have a better life for yourself. They're dangerous.
I mean, that is what... I mean, he's just saying, oh, let's just bomb the city of Davos and not take consideration for who the people's there? Or is he specifically talking about the people of the World Economic Forum?
World Economic Forum.
I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, he's referring to bombing the World Economic Forum.
Although, good luck
all
with
our
that. I mean, honestly, this reminds me of... There is a book that's basically the environmentalist equivalent of the Turner Diaries that a family member introduced it to me, and there's a scene where the people of Davos get captured by a bunch of left-wing extremists, and for them it was just a horrible inconvenience. It says, yeah, do you change the effect of the world? Like, and the guy is from the perspective of a person who was one of the people at Davos, who's like the hoity-toity liberal elite, like, oh, great job, terrorists, you didn't convince a single person, and F you very much.
I don't know.
There is no effect whatsoever. Like, oh yeah, let's attack the richest people in the universe. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, great idea.
Well, they're idiots, dude. They don't give they don't care what's true. They don't give a fuck about that.
They're a bunch of because they are like the modern equivalent of the Hermetic cult. They don't have a demiurge to fight against. We're just all unite humanity and technology and reason and extend to godhood without any kind of demiurge kind of conflict.
Well, they are like the natural consequences of the demiurge. They have to transcend that by basically saying, you can't talk shit to me. That's hate speech. Oh, you can't be rich because it's the environment will die if you become rich.
Oh yeah, they don't have like Hermetics don't have a demiurge. They just believe that we'll just condition humanity. We'll be as above so below, as below so above. We'll use that circuit of Hermetic thought to condition people to like our agenda, so that we'll eventually transcend the world and we'll own nothing and be happy, as they say.
Yeah. And you know, it'll be like Brave New World, where everyone's so stoned out of their mind just so they can get the access to the latest, greatest, you know, product, and then be happy to purchase the next product. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, Walrus Boy is now threatening to blow up the World Economic Forum, and I'm thinking to myself, you can't be like, you are not this fucking bold. Like, you are uncharacteristically bold this time to say this shit.
I mean, his daughter was killed recently, so.
Well, you know, who's gonna have to die now to shut the Walrus up again? That's the real question.
Well, as long as he keeps talking, he'll just destroy himself. Although he says Davos is the quote heart of the dragon, which is the code for reptilians, which is code for Jews. Like, are you sure? The myth has also been spread by the Russian government. Tucker Carlson, British propagandist David.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Cucker.
Jim Stewart. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Jim Stewartson, anti-disinfo activist, award-winning creative technology, being sued by QAnon Mike Flynn. Oh, he's being sued by Mike Flynn.
I doubt it. I fucking doubt it.
Who is this guy?
Oh, he's fucking he has the blue check. Oh wait, the blue check doesn't mean shit anymore.
And
fuck.
He has the Mind War. Please follow and subscribe. Why does he have a picture of that woman who was just on? He has a picture of the woman that we just saw doing that little chant that Mike Flynn was quoting. Like, is this supposed to be parody or irony?
Everything's irony at this point, dude.
Let's see. With transparency, there are my goals, my strategy, short-term goal. Interrupting the ongoing effort to influence and destroy the 2024 election. Long-term, dismantle the transnational crime network, taking a third shot at our democracy. Oh, he's part of the world order. He's a stooge for the world order. He just doesn't know it.
Yep.
Let's see. Alex Jones asked psychotic chaos agents Michael Yon and Anne Verstelli to predict the reaction of the Moscow massacre. Extremely bloody and gigacidal, a billion people, camp of the saints, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything meaningful in this posts? Who is this?
Not a damn thing, but bunch of fucking linguist slop, you know? Bunch of fucking word slop.
Oh, so he's basically his shtick is attacking Mike Flynn. So I guess, well, 1 point for accuracy, I guess.
Oh yeah, you know, again, I'm going to be getting sources from a lot of different people. That's what I do. I get sources from both sides, and that way I can unite people together. I've said before that we can unite the country against Russia. We have that ability. This is something that we could actually have a conversation with the left on. There's a reason why I keep saying this is something that we can unite the nation and we could stop the civil war, unite against an actual threat that has openly declared, you know, bombing Davos is now a thing, right? And before people's. Well, here's the thing.
I just want to convey my concern about that because I've tried to explain Gnosticism to people, and it's hard. Like it's very difficult to show them that connection and to throw that huge seismic connection to people because it's so contrary to what they know to be the case. Because there's just so much information in there.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to be initiated to find out what's going on in the real world, right?
Which is not helpful because that's how they do it.
Yeah, and this is the reason why I say, you know, arrest these fucking people. Like, let's not make it about, like, the closest thing you can have is a rule of law and order against these people to basically say, yeah, okay, oh, you think the world's going to end? Okay, that's wonderful. Just turn around and face the wall, please. That's what you have to do. Anyhow, here you go, Luke. I posted something for you. Do you ever heard of UrbanDictionary.com?
Of course.
So here's something for you. This is something I found very interesting, and it goes on with what we were talking about earlier about Tucker Carlson.
Let me see. I mean, I wish I was prepped for like having a voice at a certain voice because I really want to have because Urban Dictionary has just the name of it has a certain implications about what kind of person uses it. But I really want to use like the voice AI voice to make it work. But unfortunately, I don't know any samples right now. So I'll see I'll just see what my original. Let's see. I'm sorry. I should have prepared.
That's all good. It's all good.
I see. I could play with. Come on. Luke. Marcus. No. I'll just try random.
Mm-hmm.
And the word we have is on Urban Dictionary.
Stag.
Stag. The male half of a relationship who allows and finds sexual gratification in allowing and even encouraging his female partner to have sex with other men. Not to be confused with the cuckold relationship where the male is typically weak and into humiliation. Stags are dominant but want to share their women.
And that describes Tucker Carlson. Here you go, Luke. Here's Tucker Carlson.
Wait, what? So we're not talking about we're not talking about who was that guy? Who was the guy with the long beard? Jack Murphy.
Well,
so we're not talking about Jack Murphy.
Oh, Jack Murphy is a stag. He absolutely is a stag. He's king of the fucking forest. He's Bambi, for fuck's sake.
What is this?
This is Tucker Carlson. Play it.
Oh. Hold on. Wait, what am I looking at?
This is Tucker Carlson.
Oh.
Bam.
It's alive. I think.
Yep.
Or is it injured?
Fucking Tucker.
What the? Stop! Open the door! Dude, get out! Open the door!
He has to save you from the globalists. I want to pet it.
Oh no! Don't go there! Poor thing. Come on. Oh no, is it blind? Can you not see the exits? Maybe he's still in shock. Maybe he's still in shock. Like, what happened? What happened? Oh, wait. Okay, calm down. Okay, I'm calm. Okay, how do I get at it? Oh no, I'm stuck. I can't get out. No.
That is Tucker Carlson in this next clip.
What is this?
So it was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that Russian troops moved into eastern Ukraine. And
has it really been 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Do you remember? Just for the record, it's been almost 2 years, and I can remember they said they weren't going to last 2 weeks. They're still here, dude. They're still kicking. The Ukrainians are still kicking ass and taking names. They're still doing it, guys. They're still fucking busting their ass, and we're still alive. We're still here. So we have an effect against the Russian Empire, even though the Russian Empire keeps shooting itself in the foot because it has Soviet PTSD, right? So like, it doesn't matter the fact that we're destroying all their resources and their crap like that. It doesn't matter the fact that everybody is sick of Putin's bullshit. We're winning still. But, don't listen to this little fucking stag man right here, because he is a stag. He's the type of guy who would be happy to share his wife and kids with you.
Why? What happened?
Well, you'll see. I want to say keep playing it, and it starts, I want to say, right around 6 minutes in, 6 minutes and 40 seconds in, but here we go.
Shocking than we're describing. And we're going to get them from the man at the very center of it, Amalia Yashtelov, the chairman of this group, the man now accused of being a Russian agent and about to go on trial. We're honored to have him join us now. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. This is an important interview for us. It helps us to break out of this encirclement, information encirclement that has been imposed on us by the U.S. government. And when we talk about the ignorance...
What's with his outfit?
He's a black African socialist, Luke.
He's not a veteran.
Let's Tarantino this. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's Tarantino this. Yeah, that's him. You're probably wondering how you got to this wild and wacky situation. Well, it all started in the summer of 2014.
So it was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that Russian troops moved into eastern Ukraine, and throughout the West, Western media reported this as a totally unprovoked act of aggression. Who could have seen it coming? But there was, if you paid very close attention, one political group in the United States that had a different explanation for it, and it was a group a lot of people would dismiss as fringe, a group called the African People's Socialist Party. And to be honest, we'd never heard of them. But around this time, they started releasing videos with a different view. Those videos were critical of the United States and NATO, and they pointed out that there was, in fact, a history here, and that NATO had been expanding eastward for quite some time and putting a lot of pressure on Russia. Now, you may agree or disagree with that, but they had a coherent view of it. And to give you an example of what that view was, here's video from the group's chairman, a man called Amalia Yashtelov. Watch.
There's a discussion about Russian military border build-up on this border with Ukraine.
African People's Socialist Party?
Yep.
Why are we listening to them? Why is Tucker talking to them?
Because if you recall, the Walrus is so bold because he managed to buy off the Stag man in order to have him turn against America.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This represents a terrible threat to Ukraine by Russia. But there is no acknowledgement of the history that took us to this place, how the U.S. participated in facilitating the overthrow of a government in Ukraine that was friendly to the Soviet Union, nor does it talk about the history of this relationship between Ukraine and Russia. And you have to remember that they're using NATO here too. And NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was something that came into existence to deal with the Soviet Union, or Soviet Russia as it used to be called. And so this is an ongoing aggression. It did not just start. It's been going on for a while, but the U.S. government relies on the ignorance of the people in this country and much of the world that's facilitated by people like Zuckerberg.
So you can agree or disagree with that analysis. A couple parts that are indisputably true. One, the U.S. government does rely on the ignorance of its population to do things in that population's name that the population doesn't want. Start all kinds of pointless wars, for example, get people killed, bankrupt the government. That's all real. It's also true that there is a history in Ukraine, and you may or may not think it justifies Russian aggression, but there's no question that NATO has been moving eastward, and it's hard to see why, what benefit there is to the NATO member states. In any case, that's a point of view, agree with it or not. But for some reason,
how about people willfully join on their own choice? They're not forced to join, Tucker. And then instead of aligning with the dying old man of Europe and Eurasia, the Russians, because they have nothing to offer us. They have nothing to offer Ukraine. Like, what you get for joining NATO is you get access to iPhones and fucking technology, and you get access to a bunch of cool gizmos and gadgets, and you become richer, actual material wealth and value. Go to the eastern side of Europe or Eurasia, you get Soviet bullshit comm block crap and fucking Gnosticism. What do you really want? Right?
Watching.
They
were watching, and they considered sentiments like that not just wrong or offensive, but a crime. And so 3 months later, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or federal law enforcement tasked with keeping us safe, spent its time, and a lot of agents that looked to be dozens of agents, raiding the home and the office of the man you just saw speaking, as well as the homes of 6 other members of his organization. Dozens of heavily armed agents descended with automatic weapons. They used flashbang grenades and drones. The first thing they did when they broke in, when they smashed the door, was to tape over the internal security cameras, so there would be no record of what they were doing. And then they walked off with a huge amount of material. They stole things from Yeshtela and his wife and a bunch of other people.
There are so many ways a story can be construed as a completely useless distraction. Like you can say, oh, the capitalist government is taking our stuff.
That, and also, here you go, Luke, just to let you know, according to the Walrus, man, according to Dugan, he already spoke to Tucker.
At what point? Oh, just the whole video?
Just let's see, it's about 3 minutes, and yeah, just play a little bit of it.
Do Russian patriots and Western patriots have the same enemy?
I think exactly the same enemy. Exactly. And my recent conversation with Tucker Carlson, with whom I had the chance to speak here in Moscow during his visit, has totally convinced me, because immediately we started to speak as brothers, not as enemies who fight each other. Not because Tucker Carlson is pro. No, he's not pro-Russian in nothing. No, absolutely.
He's an American patriot. That's a different thing.
And I'm Russian patriot. We have so many things in common. Obviously, we have some points.
Is he just saying this to try to create the false assumption that they have an alliance?
Or is it more to do with how shall we say it? Has more to do with well, here's the thing. He said he interviewed him, right? There's no interview being published.
Well,
there's no interview. Yeah, they were supposed to interview, and they met each other. But you know, the thing that I remember, if you recall, from Tim Cast, where he said the Russians were trying to subvert the United States, and they were trying to encourage African separatists, and they were trying to create a African ethno-state. Remember that, Luke?
Mm-hmm.
Keep playing Tucker Carlson's video with the African nationalist guy.
Of disagreement concerning geopolitics, for example, multipolarity, Protestantism, liberalism, including because he is liberal, I am not. But this, in spite of all these serious differences, the main core of our world vision is the same, because we are fighting for Christianity, for the faith, for the roots, for the tradition, for the eternity, and for the human dignity, and we are fighting exactly the same enemies.
I think he's just saying that to give himself a false representation. Like, I don't think Tucker.
Oh, I agree.
I don't think Tucker would ever agree to Dugan on anything.
I don't think he would either. And we haven't seen the video of it posted either. So for all we know, he's claiming that to be the case, and it simply isn't true.
Because I mean, him saying Tucker is an American patriot, well, okay, but that doesn't mean much. Like, that's not very controversial for anything, is it?
No, it's not.
So let's see let's see how this Tucker thing goes.
Who work for this organization?
Yep.
Then they handcuffed them and led them away. This is how they described the experience at the time.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out. Something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
So if you're watching this video right now, the chances are that you're probably not a revolutionary black nationalist. We're not, obviously. But you may be an American, and if you are an American, or if you believe in the idea of America, you should care about this case. Why? Because of the charges. Now, typically in situations like this, when the city of Philadelphia, for example, incinerated the entire MOVE community back in the 80s, when the U.S. government under Bill Clinton killed all the Branch Davidians and their children at Waco, when federal agents murdered Randy Weaver's wife and child and shot his dog, there's some pretext for doing it. There's a gun charge. They were caught with bomb-making materials. There's some weird sex stuff going on. They're child pornographers. It's human trafficking. They at least bother to tell you a story that makes you stop asking more questions because you think to yourself, well, these people were obviously very bad. They did something that was a legit felony, and they probably got what was coming to them. What's so interesting about this case is that the government under Joe Biden is not even pretending that they did anything illegal. There's no actual crime here. No one has been charged with bomb-making or hurting anyone or any act of violence. No
Again, based deep state.
What they're charged with.
Based fucking deep state. Get them. Get these fuckers out of here. These are the like we already know what they are, Luke. We know what they are. We know what they aren't.
But Biden's doing it though, and it makes me suspicious as to why they're bothering to do so.
It's almost like Biden's the fall guy, right? Yeah.
With is liking Russia, is having opinions that the Biden administration doesn't want them to have, saying things that they're not supposed to say in public. So even if you're not a revolutionary black nationalist, you should care deeply about this case, because first they come for people like this, people on the fringe, and then they come for you. The details of this.
They already come for Trump. I mean, for what? I mean, this is like a kick in the bucket at this point. A drop in the bucket at this point, I should say.
They're even more shocking than we're describing. And we're going to get them from the man at the very center of it, Amalia Yashtela, the chairman of this group, the man now accused of being a Russian agent and about to go on trial. We're honored to have him join us now. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for coming on.
I mean, no one has any trust in the government at this point. I mean, there is. I can't imagine why anyone would trust the government at this point.
I trust the government to be the government. That's what I trust.
that's not very positive, my friend.
No, it's not very positive
at all. Like it's like saying I'm dishonest, and a dishonest person you always trust to be dishonest. Honestly, it's the honest ones you have to watch out for.
Spoken like a true fucking pirate. What? It's the truth. It works.
Yeah,
it works, Luke.
Does he say anything important, or is it's just because it's just insane? It's like even if Trump, because the still sad thing is that even if Trump wins, and all things show that he will, because this is not just the presidency. We have to pretty much undo the entire apparatus of the deep state and the people who are sympathetic to it or financially benefiting from it. Like it is a massive overhaul. I can't imagine it ever being done in my lifetime.
It probably won't be done. Well, here's the problem. You have utopian notions about the world. It never will be done. You can only make a more perfect union. You can't make the perfect world.
Oh no, but that's the thing. They want a utopian world, and unfortunately, I don't want the perfect world because that only exists in heaven. But they want.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with the utopian world. They want a utopian outcome. So once everyone's happy, which will never happen, they will be happy. And once they are convinced that everyone's happy, they'll stop doing this stupid shit, won't they?
Or the way you get around that, or the way to get around that, the happy people are the ones who are left standing.
We happy few.
Oh, that's phrase.
Yeah.
Oh, that phrase hurts.
Indeed.
Anything more from this interview here?
Let's see. Keep playing.
Thank you very much for having me. This is an important interview for us. It helps us to break out of this encirclement, information encirclement that has been imposed on us by the U.S. government. And when we talk about the ignorance of the people being a factor here, part of the way to keep the people ignorant is to keep them from participating in discussion.
Yes.
Because the attack on my right to speak is also an attack on the right of the people to hear. So I have something to say. People may, as you said, agree or not agree with it, but at least they can have opinions that are informed opinions about agreeing or not agreeing with me. But when they use grenades and battering rams and armored vehicles and assault weapons and things like that.
Just speaking of conversations, I want people to actually sit down one for one and say, okay, when you say socialist, what do you mean exactly? I would love that conversation to actually happen.
Yeah, but it won't happen, will it?
Oh, that'd be too...
Nope.
And of course, if they do give an answer, they'll give something vague. Like, no, I want something specific. How does this work practically? And you'll end a lot of conversations doing that.
Yep. Because these people are idealists.
They're engaging in ideal babble, to quote Tick History.
Oh, yeah.
Because the very second you make their ideas concrete, they fall apart like sand.
Yep.
Keep me from talking. And when they talk about putting me in prison for 15 years, which is the equivalent of a life sentence for me, this is designed to keep the people from hearing what I have to say. And this is real testimony, in my opinion, of the fragility of a social system that cannot tolerate a discussion coming from somebody from one of the most economically.
It's always about the system. It's always about the system instead of the people in charge of the system.
Yep, it can't just be we have a bunch of bad pilots. It has to be the entire ship that's the problem, right?
Depressed sector of the city of St. Louis.
There you
go. So it's all a falsification. I wanted to say first of all that.
Oh, what's this? Tried to create a Pan-African. Oh yes, I remember. Oh yeah, was this an old video?
Did the Russians meddle in the U.S.?
Oh, yeah, 4 years ago.
Yep, people. Yep, I told you. And now we have a guy who can literally go on to Tucker Carlson tonight with a fucking red star and like a Russian cap, larping like he's some fucking Russian socialist.
And for a minute there, I actually thought there was a stag on his T-shirt. Or his shirt.
Who?
This guy. I thought that was an image of a stag on his shirt.
Well, he's a cock. No, he's a bull. Well, actually, he's a stag. He's a stag. That's what he is. He's a stag. He's an alpha who will let you fuck his wife because he's that alpha of a guy. He's that swell of a guy.
Oh, I mean, technically he doesn't have a wife because as a socialist he wouldn't believe in ownership because having a wife is owning a woman, so of course he would share. That wouldn't be a socialist.
Oh, it's just he's gonna socialize the women, Luke.
Or nationalize the women if you want to say it in the other language.
No, that'd be like saying all the white. He wants all the white women for himself.
I mean, a right-winger socialist will say, "Well, nationalize the women." A left-wing socialist will say, "Well, socialize the women." It's the language for the same. It's all the same thing.
Yep, but we need our women.
For the purpose of making this defense, had to move forward and say that even if we did what they said we did, that the First Amendment protects us. But I want to say beyond that, that they fabricated most of what they...
Was this really necessary to make a martyr out of this guy? I mean, it's just so petty for the federal government to come after this little socialist movement. Like, how big is this movement anyway?
I think they're bigger than they actually are. I really do believe that they're bigger than we think.
Let's see. What were they called again? African Socialist Movement?
Yep.
What was it called? African People's Socialist Party. I'll look this up while this plays.
Just want to get to the facts of it quick.
We were working, and on anybody who could provide information on us, they offered a $10 million bounty. And this is even after they've stolen and looted everything they've got. They have no case because there is nothing there. It's a totally fabricated case that they've made against us, and it's extraordinarily dangerous because, like what you said, first of all, just to be historically factual, the Second Amendment was not something that was written for me or black people. I mean, the fact is that the law that governs...
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. What are they gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, the Second Amendment was to keep black people in check. Like, dude, if you were an American, it would also apply to you, and that's how the whole process of progressing to a more perfect union. That's the point of this. But no, we're gonna say, oh, the gun. People were allowed to own guns so to keep slaves in check.
Yeah. So therefore, again, it's bad. Not a bunch of bad pilots. It's a bad airplane, right? Mm-hmm. It can never be that there's just the bad pilot. It has to be the bad airplane.
I guess maybe I'm on the wrong site because I don't see any news reports of this. We need a revolution.
I'm gonna be looking more into him lately. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be looking into that motherfucker a lot in the next few weeks or so.
Was something that came out in 1857, Supreme Court ruling around Dred Scott, which was right here in St. Louis, where the court ruled that black man had no rights that a white man had to respect. This is when...
the Dred Scott decision was unconstitutional. It's like Roe v. Wade. It was unconstitutional, but it was precedent, so that became the law.
Yep.
Dred Scott fought that getting to St. Louis, which was supposed to have been a no-slave state, would mean that he was free after leaving a place where he had been enslaved. The court said, no, you have no rights. And so that was in 1857. And what it took to overturn that ruling was not another court ruling immediately, but a civil war. And so this...
I mean, and also because this is just more evidence that the Supreme Court has too much power. When you have the ability to dictate... they're not just finding out what's constitutional, they decide what's constitutional. And that's a big difference. No vote, no democracy, no say of the people whatsoever.
Yep.
This is what has informed our relationship. So we have now de jure rights, but de facto has not been the case. And that's why you can look at all of the data, the statistics revolving around the conditions of existence of African people in this country.
Yes, it's all the system. It's like it's not the black community is in terrible shape.
It's the Atlantean. It's those damn Atlanteans, dude. It's those damn Atlanteans keeping the black man down.
I mean, I appreciate Tucker Carlson having this guy on, but it's like there's so much to rip apart in this, and I'm just curious why Tucker, like, he's not going to get to the point of what he's being charged with. So,
yeah, but the Pope says stand up. You remember what the Pope said, Luke?
When was that?
Let me see. Hold on.
Comparatively, and you see that it's only by law that we're supposed to have rights, but in fact, these rights don't exist. And what I have done, and what our organization has done, is move from this simpering kind of a politic that's based on pleading and begging and trying to come into the system based on some assumption that the contradiction is racism or the ideas or the opinions that white people have about black people. What I have done is said that's not the fundamental contradiction. The fundamental contradiction is...
Oh, yeah, the contradiction.
Here you go.
Yeah,
the contradictions.
Yeah,
what were you
the
going to say?
contradictions are not contradictions, but just conflicts, and so we'll call them contradictions because it sounds cooler.
It makes us sound more fucking logical. It makes us sound more holy.
This
Pope. This Pope. You remember the Pope?
Audio clip, folks.
Listen up. Y'all don't understand. This land that you stand on, that you think is America, this is actually Africa. The dear Mississippi that you love, that you know of, that's the Nile River. This is our land. You are Aboriginal Indigenous American. You are a Moorish American. So where is their green card? Where is their green card? Huh? Huh? They need weapons. We don't need no weapons. Huh? Huh? Stop calling us black. We're not African American. We're Moorish American. Aboriginal Indigenous.
So right over
there.
Oh.
Those are the type of people that the Walrus would love to spin up and just fucking have them destroy everything.
That would explain why there's so much... because it seems like there's more of an... I mean, maybe I'm just more aware of it, but there are a lot of... not Black Hebrew Israelite groups popping up. There are dozens of them. It's amazing how... These are the kind of people that dress up in a way that thinks that they imply that Wakanda was a real place.
Well, you have to remember, this is coming... And there's that one fucking walrus who will fucking tell you, oh yeah, it absolutely was, but it was taken over by those evil Atlanteans. Mm-hmm. And if you want to liberate Wakanda from the Atlanteans, you have to side with the Eurasians.
So
like, I'm not even kidding. It's the same shit.
Yeah, so what is... 9 months ago... I didn't notice this. 9 months ago, James Lindsay was wrong about wokeness. According to Steve Turley.
Let's look at
But that was 9 months ago, so I'm not sure how bad. Oh, because I was looking on James, videos of James O'Fallon, and so I just stumbled on a guy called Evangelical Dark Web, and he says in his video is James Lindsay embraces cultural Marxism. Malky O'Fallon lies. But what does Turley have to say about that 9 months ago?
I mean, like we've seen with. I think maybe you disagree, but I think someone like James Lindsay is ultimately proving himself to be a big problem because he's basically admitted that. He's been mind poisoned by. Yes. He has no vision of postmodernity outside of Marxism and communism.
That's really interesting. Yeah, based on some of the tweets that have been coming out.
Realize that the future is either
It's Soviet Jeremy from the Quartering. We found Jeremy from the Quartering's fucking Soviet doppelganger. It's fucking Steve Turley. Holy shit.
What was this again?
To realize that the future is either we dogmatically protect this version of liberalism that he thinks is okay, he thinks that he's found the line in the sand that's okay, arbitrarily, of course, by his preferences.
Right. He and David Brent and everybody.
He sees what's really coming, which is the Christian nationalist future, which is this revival.
Oh yes, the false dilemma. Like James Lindsay just actually released a video called "How to Avoid what is it called? Except
the false dilemma.
Not false. There's a very specific word for it. Let's see, new discourses. I'm so unprepared.
It's all good. It's all good.
How to stay out of avoidance traps. Because what he's doing right now is saying, because he's trying to say that, James Lindsay is in the false dilemma of liberalism or national socialism. But it's just, no, there's a lot more to it than that. Because James Lindsay's trying to defend the idea of, because when James Lindsay refers to liberalism, he's referring to America. He's referring to the American experiment. And this guy says, he's still lost in that. And I still appreciate the experiment, but he's going to try to change this into this conversation of, we're just going to, no, the Christian nationalism taking over. Like, no, thank you. I don't want socialism, not even socialism for Christians. Because socialism is such a
Yeah.
bad idea, even Christians can't make it work.
Yep, exactly. You get it, Luke. You get it.
Because it's fundamentally anti-liberal. Like, it doesn't have this, like, we must preserve everyone's human right to do whatever they want at all times.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that, and
He
and
can't
that's a
think
bigger
out-
danger to him, apparently, than the left.
Yeah, you got it. He can't think outside of those boxes. I mean, that's, in fairness, that's what Alexander Dugin was trying to do with the fourth political theories. How does Millerman put it? He's trying to create that space so as to be able to think, there aren't only three options. It's not only liberalism, fascism, or communism. There is a fourth option, and then, of course, it's just
the fourth way. The true middle way.
Oh my! New game plus balance ending.
I mean, I like Steve Turley's presentation, but when you say stuff like, do you realize what you sound like? Like, do you not know what your opposition is like?
Did I not call it, Luke? Did I not call out Steve Turley for the piece of shit that he was?
I mean, you have a talent for calling out everybody. He's saying all the right things, but of course he's trying to have this conversation about, like, because there's always a subtle hint of, we're moving into this new tradition, this new way, which is just a reinterpretation of the old way, which is
we're entering the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, enter the age of integralism and sacralism, like trying to create this never articulating specifically, but what will ultimately be basically like the worst aspects of the church state under the Vatican. Like, all the worst parts of it, except all political motivation.
Yeah. When the moon is in the summer house and Jupiter aligns with Mars and peace will engulf the planet and love will shoot the stars. That's exactly the type of thing we're dealing with. We're dealing with Gnostics who are basically so vague that they could basically cold read themselves to victory. And he said the magic word. He said the walrus's name. I didn't even plan that.
Wait, what was he mentioned?
How does Millerman put it? He's trying to create, in fairness, that's what Alexander Dugin was trying to do with the fourth political theory.
Yep, there he is.
How does Millerman put it? He's trying to create that space
called him,
so as to be
Luke.
able to think, there aren't only three options. It's not only liberalism, fascism, or communism. There is a fourth option, and then, of course, it's Dasein and all this sort of stuff. But I think more broadly, it's post-secularism, it's post-globalism, it's post-modernity. It's moving out of those frames of reference and allowing.
There is no modernity.
Modernity is a lie created by communists and fucking traditionalist fucks like you to try to take control of everything.
And I don't know about you, but before the pandemic, there were actually Walmarts that are open 24 hours, and I missed that. Like, I like, if that's what modernity is, I kind of like modernity. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if that's fucking based. I would love to go fucking mess around in a fucking Walmart at 24 hours.
But they don't do that no more. Like, after the pandemic, there's nothing open 24 hours.
Oh, dude, they don't even let you try on clothing at Goodwill or Savers anymore. Like,
no?
All those no. Like, legitimately, it's something that no one has talked about. I actually might send a link to Styx Hexenhammer at some point talking about this, because this is something that actually is a direct assault on the poor. Say what you will about hipsters and Goodwill, right? And people like me who were raised in Goodwill, essentially, we can't even try on clothing anymore. And we find some very nice fucking clothes in Goodwill. Like actual, like, Ralph Lauren, like, oh my god, it's prep fucking, it's prep threads,
Mm-hmm.
Fucking preppy clothing. I don't know. Keep going.
In fairness to his extraordinary thought, it's allowing every culture to basically awaken its arche. Its core. It's sacred. That's very specific to where it is geographically and all this sort of stuff. We talk about land powers versus sea powers and all that.
Yeah, fascists refer to that as the state.
He started talking about Atlantists. He started talking about the Atlanteans versus the fucking Eurasians.
But cultural anthropologists would say that rituals ultimately are the interaction of populations with their specific ecological order to create a unique culture, and at the heart of every culture is a cult, which we call the sacred. And every population has its own sacred.
Oh, yeah. Rousseau referred to this as the social contract.
Yep.
I'm going to be in Japan, and in a couple of days here. As a matter of fact, when this airs, I'll already be in Japan. And one of the things that I love when I visit Japan is just sensing their own particular sense of the sacred.
Well, yeah, that's because most of them are Buddhists, and Buddhism. I mean, I can't prove this, but I'm almost certain that all the Eastern religions are hermetic. Except they don't have a praxis.
Look into Confucius.
Oh, what will I find if I look into Confucius?
Chink Plato.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh,
Although,
yeah.
The only benefit of that is that because there was this interesting interview about Christianity in Japan, and the girl made the comment about how she was never surprised to see this people who loved expressed love to her, how much they actually showed their love to show how they loved each other, and that actually got me thinking. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Buddhism kind of teaches that attachment is the source of all suffering, and one of the forms of attachment is showing love to your children and to your fellow man. So Buddhism doesn't teach that you shouldn't love your children or your fellow man, but it would be beneficial for you to avoid that kind of attachment.
Yeah. It's basically Buddhism is basically the Jedi way of dealing with love. You should be encouraged to love, but love will lead you to loss, right?
Which kind of explains why virtually all anime is very autistic when it comes to the concept of love. Like,
yeah,
you ever watch romantic comedies? Like I'm currently watching Dangers of My Heart, and it's probably one of the most interesting versions of a romantic comedy because they're two awkward people falling in love with each other, but it's so odd. It's just because all romantic comedies and anime are just this teaching love at this weird kind of. I mean, it's this weird kind of because it's almost like they don't understand what love is because they have a different word for it. They have like when they first get along with each other, they like each other, and then they go later on to say they love each other. So they can't say love right away right off the bat.
Well, yeah, because love is being overused. It's like saying your best friend. Here you go, Luke. Play this. This is not from the Pope, but this is from somebody who's the Zen master, let's say.
What's this?
Let me tell you something. Once you've lived as many years as I have, you'll have yourself a long, long list of memories. If you're lucky, most of them will be good. If you're not, some will be bad. If you're really unlucky, some will be so bad you'll never want to be reminded of them again, ever. You'll go far away to a place that doesn't hold any memories at all. And there you'll be happy just to forget and be forgotten. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in love? Truly in love, I mean, and not simple infatuation. Exactly. You're still at the beginning of your life. There will be women in your life, perhaps many women. But if you're fortunate, you'll find love once. The Jedi, with their damnable sense of over-caution, would tell you love is something to avoid. Thankfully, anyone who's even partially alive knows that's not true. Love doesn't lead to the dark side. Passion can lead to rage and fear, and can be controlled. But passion is not the same thing as love. Controlling your passions while being in love, that's what they should teach you to beware. But love itself will save you, not condemn you.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, some of these old 2000 fucking RPGs have more substance in them than most of the crap that was actually put out nowadays by Sweet Baby and all that crap.
Yeah, because people like Sweet Baby didn't exist to mess it all up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But you know, that's a good place to end it here. Luke, any final thoughts?
I'm going to show you fellas a little trick. Next time you're in trouble, do this. I know. I make it look easy.
What's that from?
Freakazoid, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another, take care of one another. Remember, saving the West is a side quest.